Yes.
I would describe the feeling as feeling like you're seeing something that you've never seen before or felt before.
You totally not thinking about anything except for one thing that brings you joy.
It's that moment of inspiration where, like, I want to run home and create.
Your definitions of what you think things are change.
You realize something really about yourself and about your place in the world.
Receiving an idea.
It's the night before Christmas. It's the last day of school. It's Friday.
Pure excitement and joy and happiness.
Temperature raises, you get flush, your pupils dilate. I mean, it's what happens when people are attracted to each other. It's the same thing. Like, all these, chemical things really do happen in your body.
My defining I blew myself moment around maybe 16 or 17 in high school. I had this group of friends. They're really, really smart. They all had life figured out. They're gonna be a lawyer, they're gonna be a teacher, they're gonna be a doctor, and I was still trying to figure out how to pass algebra. So I got accepted into an FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, here in New York City as a college arts program. I mean, I just fell in love. All of these weird people with artistic views and creative thoughts and also really good at art, and being with these people, I just felt a sense of belonging. I was just oh my God, I'm gonna be okay, man. This was a defining moment for me, and it just made me so excited for the next part of my life. So I think that was really my I blew myself moment.
I always think back to when I first got really into music. The first concert I saw was The Clash, the punk rock band. I went as kind of a little kid to this punk rock show. There's all these people with mohawks and, crazy piercings and tattoos and wild clothes. But what I loved was how welcoming they all were. Hey, little dude, it's awesome that you're here, and we were all just enjoying the music together. Changed the way I looked at music and concerts. It really cemented the idea in my head that I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a rock star. I was off to the races.
I was doing impressions. I would always imitate everybody. That was my thing. I had an impression of this specific science teacher. She had a very specific voice, Mrs. Woods. Diaz. She had this way of talking, right? And I just picked up on it immediately. One day, I think I was doing her in her class. She's like, what's going on? And maybe one of the kids out of me is like, yeah, imitating you, man, it's really funny. And so she's like, okay, let's have it. And there's only one way to play that card. And I just did her in front of her. And she was beaming. She's like, oh my God, And she said, and then the other kids saw that, and they're like, he does other ones too, he does Mr. Brown, blah, 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 blah. And I was getting a little bit scared, and she's like, come with me. And she grabbed me by the hand and took me around to all the teachers that I imitated. And I had to do my 2 minutes in front of each of them. And the response was the same. Funny is funny, whether it's about you or not.
It was a really hot day, and I was young. And the only place to go to get out of the heat was in the basement, and that's where the stereo was. And it was just one of those all-in-one record players sort of things. And the power went off, so the sound went off in the speakers, but you heard noise coming just from the little needle. And so it just kind of unraveled. I just went and found a sewing needle, held it in my hand and went like this around with the turntable. And that you've got to do, because you can feel it in your hand. And then I figured out how to undo the motor so that when the power went back on, I could play it loud, but by myself, So then now you're just turning the thing around with your finger. It's
I am a mom to 2. I created 2 kids. I can't believe I actually did that, but I did, and hey, I love them and they're amazing, and now I write about them on my blog. There are definitely moments where you can see the I blew myself, the aha of they just figured this out. It's something that will stick with them forever. And you just have those small moments of joy in their eyes that you're kind of wow, we helped put that there. It just kind of spurs little things here and there that spur into big and bigger, and it just keeps getting better.
I was auditioning to get into graduate school. You have to do 2 contrasting monologues. That's what you do as an actor, Usually one's tragic and one's comedic. And for whatever reason, maybe it's because I couldn't decide on which ones to choose, but I ended up bringing with me, fully memorized and worked on 9. You're supposed to have 2, but I had to do 9. I couldn't pick. And sure enough, I did my 2. And then they said, do you have anything else? First time I've ever been asked that. And I was like, well, I do have a 3rd. And I did my 3rd one. And sure enough, I went through 9. And by the time that thing was done, it would have been a 4-minute, session, which was like 20 minutes. And I'd actually worked with them. And it wasn't so much that I had prepared all this extra stuff and that I got kudos for it. That wasn't it at all. It was that you don't have to do things the way you think you're supposed to. Like, I had it set in my mind, you're supposed to do 2, contrasting and a comedic, that's it, tragic and comedic. And I was all nervous that I had all this other stuff that I wanted to do, but it was fine, it was the best thing ever. Just do it the way you want to do it, and that was super mind-blowing to me.
It took me a while to actually get involved in theater in my life. I didn't start until my sophomore year of high school, when I was run crew on a production of Evita at my high school. And the only job I remember that I had was I had to bring a lamp on stage for this one moment. It wasn't during a transition scene, it was a scene where the lights were up, so I was in costume for this moment so that I would blend in as I brought this lamp on stage and then walked off stage. And it was just this moment, it was the first show I ever worked on, and it was just this moment where I was like, yes. It was such a small little thing, but I was like, yes, this feels right, this is what I want to do. Our purpose on this crazy planet is to continue to chase those moments and learn new things about yourself and find new things that excite you and make you excited to get up in the morning and to live your life every day,
Life in general is a string of those moments. You're hanging on to the next one.
The inspiration comes from weird places. Be open to absorb everything.
Opening yourself up to new experiences, I think, is the same whether you're 1 or you're 91.
Some things are so big that you'll never stop learning them almost,
Sometimes you just have a moment and you need to share that. Snap a selfie. Enjoy that moment.
With I Blew Myself, the knowing that anyone can get involved and share their story, and no matter who you are, what you are, it doesn't matter. We can all relate to that is like a beautiful, beautiful thing.